So one of the things that's most challenging for wind ensembles is the fact that tuning is so obvious if it's not good. If it's not good, there's no place to hide. Whereas a stringed instrument or a vocalist in a choir can have a vibrato and it softens the effect, but not so with wind instruments. In addition, the wind instruments are very loud and present. They have a strong character. So if you have an out-of-tune trumpet, it's a little different than an out-of-tune second violin or even first violin. So oboe would be another one that's very obvious. Piccolo, any of these instruments require a certain amount of pressure to be able to make the sound come out. And the result is that problems show up very intensely. So one of the first things to discuss is this issue of selecting the right pitch to tune to, and exactly what that means and how to decide that. I believe that it's very important to tune first to a B flat versus an A initially. This is good for wind and brass instruments anyway, as that B flat is a little bit easier, I think, to play on many of the instruments. On the violin, of course, that would be a very difficult instrument to tune to, and they have to select an A because that's one of their open strings, and so it will be with the viola, cello, and other instruments that are stringed. So with the wind ensemble, I suggest the note B flat, as you'll hear me calling it SI flat and solfege C flat, because of the fact that it is a very solid pitch. So when I hear this pitch, it has a richness and a depth that's easy to analyze and to hear. Whereas if I play A, you can hear that the pitch has a very dynamic quality. I'm not going to get into that right here, but essentially the pitch itself is somewhat unstable. And the result is it can be hard to hear what's going on in the sound. In this A, I'm going to play it now, not speak. You'll hear it almost feels like it gets sharp. It gets thin and focused, and even when the oboe is playing, sometimes they're accused of getting sharp. They're not getting sharp. They are actually just playing the correct pitch, and it's inherent in this pitch A, as I've discovered. Now the note B flat, as you can hear, has a constant, very resonant, solid core to its pitch. Thus, it's much easier to tune to initially. Therefore, I would recommend that for starting, and that's, I believe, what we're doing. So the B flat is where I would think you should start. So that's great. We're going to put everything in B flat today. That's because that pitch itself is more stable than A. So you might have even noticed that when you tune to an A, there's something kind of squishy about the pitch. I can't get into that today, but there is something going on when that occurs. You're not crazy. So we're going to play B flat because it has a much better, solider sound. You can hear this, by the way, in the piano. If I play a B flat, now listen to the A. This one seems stable. And this is one of those properties that helps people with absolute pitch to identify different pitches, is that there actually is something about that A. So today we're also going to do something different because I'm going to ask us to tune a slightly different. We're going to be tuning the upper unisons, that is to say, we're going to have our beautiful La A that we had yesterday, but we're going to make it SI flat this time. So we're going to have the SI flat tuning pitch, and then I'm going to ask the clarinets and everyone else who plays in that octave, who would be considered our sopranos for today. I'm going to ask you guys to come in and blend with that pitch, okay? So when we're ready, you ready? Just that octave. Good. Now, it's very good. You can notice, yes?
You would like brasses as well?
We would, absolutely. Anyone who can play that.
Brasses as well. We're
Yeah.
not going to separate the two choirs.
That's right. We're putting them all together. So let's do that together. All right? One more time. Very, very good. By the way, if you hear the wavering, you'll know that your pitches might be slightly out of phase if it's not absolutely the same frequency as the oboe then what ends up happening is you end up with the overtones all being off by that much, and thus the wave, that is the beating, out of tune or out of phase beating. So the system that really works is to just listen to the pitch and not think too much. Just let yourself sort of land on it. I almost think that it's better to come from above and just sort of let yourself glow through it. Okay, one more time, very good, and we'll move through quickly. Okay, you guys. Okay, very good. Okay, good. Darn good. There's still a little bit of that happening, but you'll get better and better at being able to just tell where it is. Now, I want to ask you to try something. Don't play as loudly, but play with a good solid sound. You're going to be what is the tip of the pyramid. I just learned recently that's called the pyramidion, and it's the very tip, the capstone in a pyramid, and that's what you guys are. The louder we are when we're up there, the harder it's going to be for the lower structure of the pyramid to be substantial enough to support you. So it needs to be light enough. This will also help if you're out of phase. You can actually hear the concert pitch better, so you can really focus on our principal oboist who's playing a beautiful pitch.
Okay.
Can I ask you guys to try something for me? Would you guys all do that on B flat again? I just want you to compare how you felt about that A versus the B flat. Could we do the B flat just briefly? We'll kind of go faster. Play that A again. Now I'm going to mention something to you you won't hear anywhere else, and that is, do you notice that that A feels like it's kind of swooshy, or that it's a little bit hard to get a core on it? If you feel that way, you're not crazy. There's a sensation that the pitch is going up, but it is absolutely not going up. But I want to ask you to think of the pitch frequency and hold that frequency. That is, go for the core of the sound. If you listen to the edges of the sound, it might sound like it's getting sharper. So you want to go for the core. We're going to be talking about that with equal temperament. So go for the core of that beautiful la, okay? Beautiful. So if you almost think the vowel O when you're playing it, which you guys were kind of doing, it will really help that. That was wonderful. Okay.